Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will try to understand the moderate phase of Indian National Congress. It was from 1885 to 1905. So, in 20 years, we will try to understand after the formation of our first national level political organization. It was our first national level political organization. How INC was formed? There is two theory related to the formation of INC. If you don't know, go and look at the lecture formation of INCs. So we will try to understand how and what nationalists were early nationalists were struggling from the government with the help of Indian National Congress. We will try to understand what was the demands of early nationalists and with the help of INCs how they were struggling from the government to fulfill their demands. And also we will try to understand what was the significance of this 20-year struggle, and also we will try to understand that what was the significance of early nationalists. In this lecture we will try to understand both the things. So first we will try to understand how they were struggling for their demands. What early nationalists were doing that they choose to meet INC meeting in any particular city. They decide, let's say, this year the meeting will be held in Mumbai, Bombay. INC meeting. We will try to understand how early nationalists were struggling for their demands, and then we will try to understand how what was their demands. So they used to meet in a particular city. In this example, we have taken Bombay as the example that early nationalists used to meet this Bombay in this year, and then one they decide their president of that particular session with consensus. President was not chosen by the voting, but they were they used to choose their president with the consensus that this person would be our president, and they say okay, this would be the president for our this session. And then they used to discuss various national issues in the session, and then they pass a resolution that these issues can be solved with this problem, with these modification in the law, with this modification of the system, with these resolutions, and then they submit the same resolution to the concerned authority. Maybe that authority is at the, let's say, local level. Maybe that authority is at the province level. Maybe that authority is at the viceroy level. So they pass a resolution, they submit the same resolution to the concerned authority, and the submission was in the form of prayer, petition. They use their voices were very humble when they were submitting their resolution to the concerned authority, and soft. They were not like riot and dharna, like fulfill our demands, these are our demands. They were very soft and humble when they were submitting their resolutions, their demands to the concerned authority. So I hope you understand how early nationalists were struggling for their demands. So they pass a resolution in that particular meeting. They submit the same resolution to the concerned authority. And I had the discuss you how they were submitting their demands. Now we will try to understand what was the demand of early nationalists. We will try to understand the demands of early nationalists. There were many demands. We will try to understand some of them. That they were saying that judiciary should be separated from executive. During that period, we had only four high courts. So there were many body who are exercising the judicial power and also the executive power due to not having the high courts in all the provinces and not having the judicial system in all the provinces. Same body was performing the both the work. Like if you look in our present life, present day, magistrate have some power related to the judiciary, and also magistrate have some power related to the executive. So due to not having high court proper judicial system, same body was performing judicial and executive power. So early nationalists were demanding from the government that there should be separation of judiciary and the executive. They were demanding more representation should be given should be given into legislative council. They were saying that more Indians should be in the legislative council in the at the viceroy level and also at the province level. So if Indians will sit in the legislative council, so they can decide the legislature whether it is good for Indians or whether it is good or it is bad for the Indian. So it is very important for them to sit in the legislative council. So they were demanding that we should give more representations to us. Now come to another demand. They were saying freedom should be given. Due to many press acts, one vernacular press act. In vernacular newspapers, nationalists cannot publish anything against the government. There was a restriction that they cannot publish anything against the government. So early nationalists were saying that you should give freedom to us. Like we can write anything about the government. They were saying reduce tax. They were demanding that reduce expenditure. Just remember this point on administration and also in the army. They were saying utilization of public money in public welfare. They were saying famine code would be implemented properly. So these were the demands from early nationalists. You can also find out demands that what was the demand of early nationalists during the after the just formation of Indian National Congress. So we had seen how early nationalists were struggling for them. We had also seen what was their demand. We have read some of them. You can also find out other demands of early nationalists. Now we will try to understand what was the significance of this period and what was the achievement. Early nationalists were responsible for the formation of first of our national level political organization INC, on which later nationalists played very important role in our freedom struggle. So this is very important point. Now another point, early nationalists were responsible for letting other peoples to know what was our problems and how those problems can be solved with the help of INCs. Like what was the resolutions and discussions they were doing in the INC meeting? They published the same resolution and proceeding to their newspapers also. So due to this, peoples of India were able to know what was our problems. So this is very important point. This is very important significance of the earliness list. Now a very important point that earliness list had very, we had just developed a sense of togetherness, like these peoples saying that the Bengal people is same as we are. So early nationalists were just develop the sense of togetherness, despite the fact they can compel the government to bring some changes with the help of our first national level political organization, which is also reflected in Indian Council Act 1892 and also in the Indian Council Act 1908. Given more example that in Indian Council Act 1908, earlier there were 16 to 18 members in Imperial Council, which increased by 68. So this change can be done because of the earliness list. So they were very important. They had played very important role in our freedom struggle. So I hope you are getting points. So thank you for